Today I'm going to show you how to make a crispy pork belly in the pellet grill. One of the things that I don't really enjoy about making pork belly is it makes a big mess whenever you're deep frying it or doing it in the air fryer. So we're trying out a new method today that I saw from a guy, and I will tag him in the description. Crispy pork belly in the pellet grill. All right, there's our pork belly. Give it a good slap for good luck. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this, and then we'll move to the next step. And this came from my friends over at Good Life Brands. To make this an even cook, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just trim up this pork belly and look for any silver skin, which, you know, I'm not really gonna, you can trim that off a little bit. I think I will a little, but just to make sure that that meat is tender. All right, and just the other little part is, see how this is thin over here? Just to create an even cook, I'm gonna go ahead and trim that up. There we go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna season the meat side only with Kairos. This is my favorite rub. It is a Santa Maria blend, which I'm almost out, by the way. And just to make sure that it adheres, you just wanna pat it in just like that. You don't want seasoning on the top side because we're gonna do something a little bit unique, and I'll show you. So we did get a little bit of seasoning right here, so I'm just gonna wipe that off as much as I can. Then from that point, I'm gonna pat it dry. What the goal of this segment of the video is we wanna get all the moisture off of the fat cap. And there's a little system that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna poke holes all throughout the pork belly. And what this will do is allow all of the moisture from the fat and the meat to be able to be released. And so after I do this, we're gonna cover it with salt completely. I've got holes poked all over the top of this. You can see by all the holes that are there. And the reason that I'm doing that is because we want the water to be released through these holes, and more absorption will come from the salt that's gonna go on here next, which will enable this to get crispy. All right, now I've got a large spatula, and I'm simply gonna transfer that pork onto my spatula. That will allow me to transport this over to the smoker without allowing the salt to be removed. Next step is just simply to put all of that sea salt right on top. We wanna cover as much as that fat cap as possible. And what this is gonna do is it's gonna absorb all of the moisture coming out of the fat. Let's just smooth that over. All right, now that pork belly is completely covered in salt. Now let's go get it on the smoker. Now the first thing we need to do is get pellets loaded in our Traeger. I'm gonna be using hickory. I love the deep smoky flavor that it provides. Let's get it loaded up. All right, let's get our Traeger turned on. All right, we're simply gonna turn the dial. We're gonna go to 250 degrees, and we're gonna hold down here to get it fired up. So the Traeger's at 250 degrees. All right, so lay that pork belly right there in the center. Take a pan, slide it right under there, and we're gonna let that go for 1 hour at 250 degrees. All right, spin an hour. And you can see right here how, see how it's turned color? So I think it's time. We're gonna bring this inside and we're gonna turn the grill up to 500 degrees. And remove the pork belly. Just gonna set it right inside there. And we're gonna go inside. All right, you can see by the discoloration, smoke has obviously done that. And also it has absorbed a lot of moisture. So we're gonna do our best to get all of that off. So just remove every bit of the salt from the pork butt, or belly. So here's the back side of the pork belly. with all that seasoning, and then when we flip it over, and that's what the top fat looks like. Now let's get us a pan, and we're simply just gonna set it down in there. So the next step, we're gonna put a little bit of salt on the belly, or the fat side, and I'm just gonna spread that around evenly. And then I'm gonna take my favorite sea salt. I'll have this link below in my description. You don't want a lot here. You want just enough to flavor the top of the pork belly. Because remember, we've scraped all the other salt that we had on top to draw out the moisture. Now this is literally just for flavor. So the next step is to put chicken stock in our pan, because that's gonna help tenderize the meat below. But remember, whenever you're doing this, you do not wanna come up above the fat, because it'll prevent the skin from getting crispy. Now the next step is we're gonna go get this on the smoker at 500 degrees. Traeger set to 500 degrees, but we're in sear mode, not in smoke mode. Carefully set that pork right inside there, and we're gonna let that go for about 2 hours. You can see that the chicken stock has evaporated, so what I'm gonna do is just add a little bit more. Cook another hour. All right, we went 3.5 hours, and here is where we've ended up with the pork. So we're gonna let this rest about 15 minutes, and then we're gonna cut into this. So in the meantime, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make something to dip our pork belly in. We're gonna make a quick guacamole. So we got just one avocado. I'm just gonna cut that in half. Oh, what's it gonna be? What's the reveal? Boom! Look at the color on that. I want you to look. You know what that tells me? This is gonna taste good, especially good with that pork belly. All right, I know people tell me not to do that. All right, got a bowl. Take our avocado, fork, little mishmash. Just go ahead and get that mashed up a little bit. Get a little angry with it if you got to. Not really, you don't have to be that annoying with it. I like onions in my guacamole. So this is actually the bottoms of scallions. So we're gonna go ahead and drop in those. Heavy portion of salt. Lime juice, and I like a heavy dose of lime. That acid, that acidity is gonna help cut through the fat of the pork. And just mix it. What we'll do is my cute little camera lady, I'll let her try it first. See her nails? Mm-hmm. Good stuff? Isn't that good?
No, limey and delicious.
Woo! All right, I got paper towels down just to kind of soak up some of that moisture on the bottom. Just to kind of soak up some of that moisture on the bottom. Hey, you want to lick my fingers? They'll be like, gross! We're gonna go ahead and remove it from the paper towels. Woo! Here is the true test if this is crispy or not. Let's cut into it. Let's see if we got any crispiness at all. It's looking good, I'll tell you that. All right, let's go ahead and pull. Oh, look at that. I just want you to look at the juiciness of, look at that. Look how juicy that meat is. See that right there? And then you got a smoke ring on the bottom. Look at how juicy that is. Super excited to dive into that thing. So here is the test. I've got my microphone right here on my apron, and I'll see if I can get close to it. Actually, I have an idea. All right, we're gonna test to see how crispy this is. This thing is incredible. Put some guacamole on it. Oh man, that is fantastic. This is my second time to do crispy pork belly in the pellet grill. The first time it was perfect, but it wasn't on camera. Cheers, thanks for watching. I encourage you to give it a try and do it till it works.